So, first of all, thanks to Sister Philomene Mary for asking me to animate this webinar on gender bias to gender equity. And at this point, I also humbly invite all the professors and students to participate in this webinar. My intention is not just to offer some academic information through this webinar, but also to make it an opportunity for each one of us to have experiential learning and also to enrich our lives and also the lives of others who live with us in our. Let us move ahead. Next. At the very beginning, I like each one of us participating in this webinar to pause for a while as a sign of respect and homage to Manisha Valmiki, who was recently gang raped in Uttar Pradesh. So we all know about the recent rape case that took place in Uttar Pradesh, and according to my understanding, it is not just a crime, but it is also a deterioration of how the society looks at women, how they understand women, how they treat women. And if the society had a healthier understanding of treating women, such cases would not happen. So it is indeed very painful, and thus the theme that we are discussing today becomes all the more relevant for us to focus on gender equality and gender equity. So gender equality is not a woman's issue alone. It is a human issue. It affects us all. A woman is affected in a family, the whole family is affected, our society is affected, our world is affected. So we cannot imagine a world without the safety and respect for women. Next. At this point, I'm inviting all the participants to have some kind of self-awareness practice. Soon there will be a list of words popping up. Probably you can grab a paper and pen if it is near you, or you might also use your laptops or cell phones on the screen. And what you need to do is write the first word, phrase, or image that comes to your mind after hearing that word. Be quick. We do not have to think over that word. Whatever comes to your mind, just be quick to note down that your thought, your word, or phrase or picture that comes to your mind. And there is no right or wrong answer. It's just a way of helping us to have deeper self-awareness. I guess participants are ready, and I invite Mr. Ravi to go ahead. Next. Teacher. Whatever thoughts, words, or phrase come to you, please note down very quickly. Next. Engineer. Be quick and note down whatever are your thoughts in little words or phrases. Mother. Father. Cooking. Whatever thoughts come to your mind when you hear the word cooking, just note down. Mr. Ravi, be slow. Yeah, be slow. Newspaper reading. As you hear these words, whatever thoughts, phrases, pictures emerge in your mind, just note down. as short as possible. Next, compassionate. As you hear this word, just note down whatever comes to your mind. Next, strict. Whatever pops up in your mind, feel free to write down. Next, God. Whatever image or thoughts come to your mind, please note down. Now, after having done this quick exercise, I'm going to invite you to share your thoughts or words, whatever has come to your mind, in phrases as short as possible. So I will ask you, maybe you can, for teacher. So please, images that came to your mind when you heard the word teacher. Yeah, Guru. Guide, always a learner, role model. Guide, always a learner, role model. Mother. Friend. Yeah. Next to parents. Next to parents. Respect, inspiration. Yeah, inspirer. Yeah, respect, inspiration. Knowledgeable person. Yeah, inspirer. Knowledgeable person. Well-wisher. All-rounder. Well-wisher. All-rounder. Okay. Thank you. Now I'm mother. Okay. Thank you. Now I invite you to write your thoughts on the word mother. When you heard the word mother, what were the thoughts or images that came to your mind? Love, everything. God, okay. Everything. Irreplaceable love. Love, everything. Caring, affection, irreplaceable love. Caring, affection, love. Equal to into life. First teacher. My word. Mother is the word. Ocean of sacrifice. Your love. Everything. Friend. My God. Role model. Angel. Friend. My God. Yeah, now I'm inviting you to write your thoughts on. Yeah, now I'm inviting you to write your thoughts on when you heard the word newspaper reading. Prime news, knowledge, good habit. Yeah, any other thoughts? What age? Acquire knowledge, exposure. Knowing the world. Good advisors. Current affairs to know everything. Current affairs to know everything. About society. About society. Socially aware and update about school, okay. Information. Socially. Yeah, so thank you very much. And I'm not going to ask you to write your thoughts. Yeah, so each word. But what my intention was to help each one of us that whatever thoughts, whatever awareness that we have regarding these concepts, these words, or any other words, we are influenced by the society. How we understand a particular profession or particular thing or person, we are very much influenced by our society, by our culture, and which often can be gender biased. So we spoke about teacher and mother. So we express many of the gentle qualities like kind, loving, caring, and so on. And I'm doubtful that if we speak about the father, qualities might change. Some rough qualities or attributes might change. We might start expressing some of the, let's say, strictness, discipline, and so on. And so we are very much influenced by our culture, in the way we understand a profession, in the way we understand our relationship. And so we need to be, aware, and we need to make modifications wherever we need to make. Next. To understand gender bias in a better way, we need to understand the ground. And the ground I would like to explain through personal identities. So how do I understand myself? How do you understand yourself? So the first level is universal level, that is Homo sapiens, which means we all are human beings. All over the world, anywhere we go, we are human beings and we are similar to each other. Biologically, physically, we have self-awareness, we have spiritual dimension, common life experiences, and we have ability to use symbol and art. So in this level, I am like everyone else in the world. Next. Second level of understanding myself is group level, in which there are some similarities and differences among us. So these group levels can be gender, race, age, marital status, geography, location, religious preference, ethnicity, culture, disability, and ability. So let us say I belong to a male gender. I belong to a different group. And some of you belong to a different group called women. So these two group levels have some similarities and some differences. So we are different in some way, but we are also similar because of our universal level. And at this level, we can understand ourselves as I'm like some others. Okay, I'm like Indians or Asians. I'm not like white or Westerners or Africans. I belong to a different group. But many of our problems and injustices that take place at this group level, because at times individuals belonging to a particular group start thinking of other groups as inferior, and they start persecuting, torturing, and discriminating them. And examples are very clear: gender discrimination, gender bias, and other discriminations based on geographic location. People of one place may consider themselves as superior and may start looking down upon others. Religious preferences. People of one religion may start persecuting, torturing the people of other religions, especially the minorities. So many of the injustices take place at this group level. Next. The third level is individual level, uniqueness. This is genetic endowment. These are our non-shared experiences, and this speaks about our personality. And so, from this level, I'm like no one else. I'm unique. You are unique. Each person in this webinar is unique. There is nobody in the world who is like you. You are unique. And so, before we understand gender bias, we need to understand these layers. And if we have a very healthy balance and understanding of these levels, we'll be able to respect and love each other. We'll be able to connect each other because we all are equal. We belong to the universal level of Homo sapiens. We are created by God with the same dignity and respect. So we'll be able to connect and relate with everybody. At the same time, we'll be able to have healthy level of groups, and also we'll be able to respect each one's uniqueness and individuality. So I think this is the background for us to understand gender bias and discrimination. Next. What is gender? So gender is a cultural notion of who a man or woman is. It is shaped and constructed by the society and the notions about femininity and masculinity. It tells how a man or a woman ought to act, what should be their characteristics. So this is what is expected probably by society, and this changes from place to place. how we understand the characteristics of a man and woman in India may be different in other countries or even in other different states of India. So it is a social construct of how we understand and explain about gender, about a man or a woman. Next. So I want to emphasize that we all are influenced by gender. The way we think, the way we behave, the way we relate, we are influenced by our gender. For example, I am influenced by my male gender, and those who are women, they are influenced by their women gender. And a lot of it comes from our families, from our societies, from our culture, which might be good, which may not be good as well. And this gender understanding tells us how boys and girls, men and women need to act in our society. What is appropriate and what is good for them and what is not good for them. Next. Gender bias or gender discrimination. It describes the situation in which people are treated differently simply because they are male or females, simply because they are men or women. Sorry. So rather than based on their individual capacities, skills, education, and so on, they are simply treated differently because they are men and women. Next. And due to gender bias, girls and women are the ones who suffer most. Often it is seen that freedom and mobility is restricted, violence and harassments take place, as we can hear it throughout in our news and TV channels. And recent case of Hathras is a good testimony to this evil thing. Next. Yeah. So the gender bias also affects boys and men, but the impact is very low. And one small example I can give is maybe a young boy who wants to become a chef. Maybe his family, his society may prohibit him or may discourage him from becoming a chef. They may tell him, "Are you going to be cook for your wife and your other ladies? You better find some other job and do something else." So even men and boys also can be affected, but the impact is very low. But the opportunities for women are highly sometimes restricted because of gender bias. Next. Yeah. So I'm inviting each one of us present here. So a question to both men and women at this point in our group. And the question first is to men. I believe there are two professors, male professors, including me. I think we are 3 men here. So this is the question to men first. What steps do you take on a daily basis to prevent yourselves from being sexually assaulted? I invite male professors in the group to write quickly in the common chat box whether you take some steps to prevent yourselves from being sexually assaulted. If you can type in the common chat box, I will appreciate the men participants in this webinar. Okay. Okay, so this question is more of personally, like what do you do to protect yourself, to defend yourself from sexual harassment? Yours, not others, not of women, but of you, and of when I think of myself, of me. Do you take any steps? Maybe I will wait for a few more seconds. Do you take any step on daily basis to prevent yourselves from being sexually assaulted? Question is to men in the group. Okay, maybe I can speak for myself. We will proceed. As for me, like I don't need nothing. Nothing will be my answer. I don't take any steps to protect myself from being sexually assaulted. But this is not the case for women. Okay, so I'm going to come to that point. Now, at this point, I'm inviting women in this group to feel free and just post your thoughts. What steps you take to protect yourself from being sexually assaulted? Yeah, aware of social media, not to upload. Yeah, be careful. Yeah, yeah. Please feel free, women. Yeah. What steps do you take to prevent yourself from being sexually assaulted?
Comments
if some more are there to post, please feel free to post your comments. Be aware. Yeah. Self-defense classes. Yeah. Decent dressing. Not to upload any photos. Yeah, please go ahead. Should not share personal matters to others unnecessarily. Not going out during night, and I'm teaching my nephew and cousins on respecting women. I'm dressed up decently. Short time, but we get many information. Okay, don't blindly trust anyone. Yeah, and I'm sure you will be able to add to the list. And the point I want to stress is, okay, one more need counseling to both gender during schooling. Okay, and so the point I want to stress is, the society has it a very safe place for men.
Educate the child.
As I already shared, I do nothing to protect myself from sexual harassment. I do nothing. It's not a tension, it's not a worry for me. And society has made it safer for men, but it is not safe for women. Our women, our sisters, our mothers, our teachers, and so on, it's a big challenge, big trouble for them. Day and night, they need to think about it, they need to worry about it, they need to take precautions to do what they want to do, because the society, our place is not safe for women. And so there is this inequality, there is this discrimination, how our society is safe for men but not safe for women. And it speaks about the deterioration of our society. Next. Yeah, so there are some people who have shared with me their experiences in my counseling settings. So, protecting the privacy of people. One particular sister who has to travel often from Tamil Nadu to North India because she lives and works in North India. Once, due to a bitter, painful experience in the train, somebody tried to assault her. Now, what she has to do is, what she does is, she says, these are her own words, I do not eat and drink for 3 days so that I don't have to use the toilet of the train, because she is scared getting out of the berth, going at night especially to the toilet, whether she can be threatened, somebody can assault her. She is scared, and this is what she needs to undergo every time she makes a travel in the train. Who is responsible? I would not hold this sister responsible for what she has to do. This is how our society has made our public places for women. This is the bias, this is the discrimination that we experience in our society. This is just a small example, and I'm sure in your life you must have witnessed, you must have experienced many such examples and experiences where women go through a lot of agony because of this gender inequality. Next. Let us understand gender stereotypes. So stereotypes are how a society expects from genders, let's say male or female, boy or girl, what they should be doing, how they should be thinking, how they should be dressing, what kind of works they should be doing. For example, from women and girls, they expect that they should do housework, they should be in the kitchen, they should cook, they should do child care. And on the contrary, they do not expect men to engage in these activities. They expect them only to do certain things. So these are the stereotypes which have started being challenged throughout the world these days. And people who are who follow these stereotypes of a society are considered good, and those who challenge them are considered as bad. So these are the gender stereotypes that we see in our society. Next. Because of the gender stereotype, girls and women are often less valued and have lower social status and lesser opportunities. Next. Next. So such stereotypes also can bleed into our schools and our workplaces, in our institutions, where girls and women are likely not to be encouraged for certain subjects or certain areas like in technology and leadership roles due to perceived nature of certain works or roles. Next. So, as teachers, I know this group is made up of teachers or those who are aspiring to be quality teachers. At this point, I'm inviting all the participants. Like, as teachers, how will you encourage girls and women to choose the profession they like and are talented in? How would you do it when you are in the role of a teacher or in the education field? And my intention of doing this exercise is I believe that each one of you has gifts, riches, talents, and thoughts which can be useful for the group. So I invite you very quickly to share your thoughts. Be precise, be short, write only words or phrases. Please do not go for full sentences. So just write, what do you think you can do as a good teacher to encourage girls and women and to reduce gender bias? Good motivational talk and show them examples by inspiring students with our story. Yes. Yes.
How will you encourage?
What else can you, yes, motivate them? Yeah. In your classrooms, educational settings, what specific actions can you take? What can you do? Giving more information related to professions, support them and counsel their parents, very good. Guide them well. Motivate them to turn towards the goal and help them to show the opportunities, encouraging them. Yeah. Being a role model. Yes, definitely. Stimulate them in what they deserve. Counsel them and their parents too. Easy to train them, easy to teaching. Yeah, thank you. And I'm sure you can add to the list. And when you are in the field, in the classroom, you will be able to get new insights, new innovative ways of encouraging girls and women. Yeah. And I believe teaching profession and education profession is a big responsibility and privilege. It is a gift from God to mold new generations. You are molding new generations, new society, new thought pattern. And if you can have this focus in your mind as you engage in your teaching, that you need to work on gender equity. You need to reduce gender discrimination. You need to allow girls and women also to experience that healthy environment and opportunities. So that is my invitation for each one of us who is in this group. Next. Gender equality. So what is gender equality? It means ensuring that both male and female have the same opportunities and receive the same treatment and support. So very clear. Equal treatment to all people, and in our context to both genders, male and female. And so this is a question for us that we can keep in our heart. What you and me can do in our families, educational institutes, workplaces, and social settings to bring about gender equality. Next. Yeah. So, dear friends, I do not want to limit myself to gender equity, and I would like to introduce the concept of gender equity. It is slightly different from gender equality. If equality is the end goal, equity is the means to get there, and we'll know what it is. Let us get ahead. Next. Yeah. Let me read. Gender equity refers to treating men and women fairly, and here is the point, based on their respective needs. Although this may mean the treatment will be different, it will also be fair. I'm going to further explain it next. Yeah. So this has an important role in achieving gender equality because the inequalities that exist, let us say in India, in our societies, mean that we have to give more to ensure that all genders have equal opportunities. And at this point, I would like to congratulate Sister Philomene Mary and her congregation, because to open this B.Ed college exclusively for women would come under gender equity and not under gender equality. Gender equality would mean, okay, it's open equally to both men and women. But they have understood the need that women need to be specially encouraged. There should be a college, B.Ed college, which can cater especially to women, and so that they can come up in life. They can, the dignity and profession that they deserve can be ensured. So, starting this exclusive college for women certainly comes under gender equity. And that's what we need to do in our society. Because the gap is so much, giving equal opportunity is not enough. Next. This concept will be made very clear with this picture. So equity is about giving people what they need in order to make things fair. So we are still working for making things fair, but we give to each person what they deserve. I invite you to look at the picture, the left part of the picture, that speaks about equality. So a group of people are watching a match in the stadium. So equality will say, give equal opportunity, equal support to all. So there is a man, let us say, of 6 feet, there is a girl of 3 feet, and there is a person in wheelchair. According to equality, all will get a stand of 2 feet, which they can use. So equally given to all. So that is equal. That's what equality would say. But equity is different, my friends. And please note on the right side. According to equity, it will give to people according to their need. Now in this case, the man with 6 feet does not really need a stand. But the girl who is a 3 feet, perhaps she needs 2 stands if she has to really enjoy the match, if she has to really see it properly. And so double is given to the girl. And on the right, you see the person on wheelchair still may need extra support. It is not enough to give the person to stand. We need to make a ramp for the person who is on the wheelchair. That can happen only if we think from the perspective of equity and not of equality. And again, to emphasize the differences and the biases that I'm sorry. The differences and the biases that we experience currently in our society are huge. Giving equal opportunity is not enough. We need to work from the perspective of equity, giving each person what they deserve so that they can come up in life, so they can be equal, so things can be fair in the society. And definitely doing something exclusively for women, encouraging them in a very special way is the need, and that would come under equity. One another example would be maybe it's a co-ed school where both boys and girls study, maybe to, and if the number of girls studying in the school is less because parents are not willing for whatever reason, maybe reducing the fee structure for girls so that girls can be encouraged. So now we are charging boys differently and girls differently, but that is still fair because we are working under equity. I hope this concept is clear. It is one of the main focus in this webinar. Next.
Next.
Yeah, we all have heard about Malala Yousafzai, who is now 23 years old. She is a Pakistani activist for female education. I raise my voice, not so I can shout, but so that those without a voice can be heard. We cannot succeed when half of us are held back. So are discriminated, are persecuted, tortured. Other women cannot really succeed. We need to take everybody along. Next. Yeah, so this I'll be doing very quickly, this slide and next slide. So recognizing the social dimension of gender bias, how it is rooted. So there are two dimensions. One is horizontal and the other one is vertical. So according to horizontal dimension, like it's horizontally what is happening now, how our societies, institutions, policies, governments, how they act, how they maintain the status quo, and status quo in the sense how they do perpetuate, maintain social discrimination, how they continue bias, maybe at office, there is bathroom for women. The women are working, but that consideration is not good. But they do not care to modify or change. So that will come under horizontal dimension. So areas like financial access, political representation, educational opportunities, and safety, what is happening currently, will come under horizontal level. Next. Vertical level is, they are historical realities, like what is transferred to us from one generation to next, like generation after generation. That kind of bias, that kind of discrimination is handed down to us, and we we participate in it, and we continue to forward it to the next generation, to other people. And so maybe there can be a thought in a society or culture that husbands can beat wives, and it's okay, it's normal. Maybe grandfather was beating grandmother, father was beating mother, and now husband is beating the wife. Now son who sees and learns, he will continue to beat his would be. So things which are historically transferred, and these also can include slaveries in other areas. Next. Yeah, so slavery, abuse, historically consistent or pervasive discrimination, maybe even like religious bias, culture bias, all this can be historically transferred to the following generation. Next. Privilege. Concept connected with gender bias is a privilege. So privilege exists when one group has something of value that is denied to others simply because of the groups they belong to, rather than because of anything they have done or failed to do, rather than because of their education, qualification, talents, or anything. Next. So, yeah, already explained, and it does not necessitate maliciousness. This can be executed consciously or unconsciously. People may not be even aware, but maybe still giving privilege to certain group, let us say to male, even without knowing. Next. Yeah, continuing on systems and privilege. So there is this thing called the luxury of obliviousness. Next. So it means those belonging to a particular class, and for us now, man class, they do not have to think about their gender in deciding things, in doing things. They do not have to worry about their gender. But the reverse is not true for women. As many of you have already mentioned, suppose a woman needs to go for a birthday party in the late evening, she has to think that she is a woman, that she is a girl, whether she can do, whether it will be safe for her. She has to think of it from the perspective of a woman. And but for men, that thought will not come. If somebody wants to go, they will go. There may be other reasons for going or not going, but men would not think that okay, I am a man, can I go, can I not go? No. So that is the luxury of obliviousness that is available to men, that they do not have to think about their gender in doing, thinking, and in going to public places. But unfortunately, reverse is not true for women. Next. Yeah, example is already given. Yeah, please. Again, to make this group little more interactive and interactive, dynamic, and also to draw some riches from your experience, I invite the participants here mention some of the privileges that you have witnessed being given to males in your family, neighborhood, workplace, or other areas. And as usual, please be precise. Write only words or phrases. Please do not write sentences. So I invite you to share your sincere thoughts on this. Please type in the common chat box. Education, yeah, they have greater privilege for education. Going out with friends anytime, men can go, but women are restricted. Freedom, yes. Food, yeah, even I have seen people, two boys giving extra food or special food. If there is a chicken leg fried, they would give to boy and to girl, okay, bones. Riding bikes, decision making, freedom, very true. Leadership, yes. Food again, yeah. Choose their own interested career, women are not allowed, yeah, cooking, yeah. Their opinion is taken seriously, yeah, responsibility is given to them, partiality can be seen, yes. Yeah, for boy child can give first preference rather than girl child, okay, options, yeah. People even abort when they know that it is a girl child. And so we can see from the womb to the tomb, from the womb to the tomb, our society is biased. We experience it in our families, in our neighborhood, at our workplace, in other areas. that consciously or unconsciously, often men are given privileges whereas women are discriminated. And that is sad and unfortunate. And this is a responsibility and invitation for you and me, especially in the teaching and education field, in the leadership roles, that we try to diminish this huge gap and try to support girls and women in having the equal freedom and opportunities that boys and men experience. Next. Already some privileges you have mentioned. I just like to add some more. So if a man has a bad day or bad mood, it won't be connected with his gender. But on the other hand, if a girl or woman has a bad mood on a particular day for any reason, people will connect it with her gender. Okay, she is a woman, that's why she is having this bad mood. Regarding purchasing, shopping, easily connected to so women purchase a lot. These people easily say that way. And often on the road, I have seen people even sitting with me. If a woman on the road makes a mistake, driving mistake, uh, immediately the connection is given to her gender. Oh, she is a woman. And no wonder why she made that mistake or the way she is driving. But people do not say that she is a man, that's why he is driving that way. It is a discrimination, it is a bias. We are biased in many ways. And we continue to perpetuate these kind of bias in our life further. It's a difficult thing for a woman to walk at night. She has to be worried. But for man, he can walk at night. And decision even about hiring a person often can be based on whether a person is a man or woman. Hirers may think, oh, if she is a woman, then she'll become a mother, she'll bear child, and then she may not be able to come. And then the opportunity of the job can be denied to women. Yeah. Next. Microaggressions. Microaggressions are attacks on other person, and for our context for women, verbally or non-verbally. So there are three layers. Overt, that is very explicit, very clear. Covert is somewhat hidden, but the subtle is like very hidden attack on women. It's a very hidden bias that we can perpetuate or experience in our life, which can be sometimes difficult to understand, but it is there. So we'll see what it is. Next. We'll take the second example on the slide. So, a female physician wearing a stethoscope is mistaken as a nurse. Somebody mistakes, who is a doctor, but somebody mistakes her for a nurse. So what is the hidden message? What is the thought? Thought is women should occupy nurturing and not decision-making roles in the hospitals. Another thought is women are less capable than men. They should be only like nurses. They should not be like doctors who make decisions, who are, who have a better knowledge of diseases and treatments. So these can be hidden biases in our mind. Next. Now we are moving. We see this situation is painful, situation is sad. We experience gender bias and discrimination. And at times unknowingly, we also might have participated in such discriminatory activities. So now what can we do? And I'm going to propose few things. And as I propose these things, I'm not claiming that if you follow these things, we can totally eradicate gender bias. No. But here are few steps, few things that perhaps practice in our life can help us to improve things in our life and in the lives of those we are connected with. Perhaps our lives can become a little more better. Perhaps girls and women can experience a better quality of life. And the first thing that we need to do, both men and women, that is awareness. we need to be self-aware about ourselves. What are my thoughts? What are my feelings? What somebody said or did? How did I feel? Why did I feel? And just to become more connected with ourselves. It also means owning our cultural heritage, one's values. So heritage has a lot of good things, values, which come through our family, through our society. So we need to be aware of those. At the same time, no culture is perfect. No society is perfect. No nation is perfect. And no family is perfect. There can be gender biases. And so, from our culture, from our families, we can also inherit biases and prejudices about other groups, about women. And so we need to become aware what are the prejudices and biases that I might have received from my family, from society, from my culture, and try to, move out of them, pick up what is good in our culture and discard what is unhealthy and what is discriminatory. Next. Second thing I would like to propose is knowledge. Already some of you have expressed. So have knowledge, especially as teachers and in the leadership roles, of the opportunities available for girls and women, and so that you can guide them, you can help them, and also help yourself. What are the opportunities? And also the barriers. So what are the barriers? Maybe from the side of family, from the society, from the institutions, from governments, from various social policies, and how you can overcome those barriers. Then other socio-political systems, how they interact, how they affect, whether they are promoting gender equity or not, and how you can move about. So need to increase our knowledge about these areas. Next, courage and wisdom. So these are the virtues that we need if we really want to handle gender bias. Courage. Courage to stand up for yourself and for others. And wisdom. Wisdom to know when and how to speak and how to act. And so that we can do our role. We can do a little, but that little is important. We can do our role. And for that we need courage and wisdom. Next. So we are almost in the last portion of this webinar. I guess within 5 to 10 minutes, I should be able to wrap up, just to give an indication. Yeah. So one other thing that we can do is we can challenge pseudo-generic man. In our reading, in our writing, we use man as also applicable for women. Maybe we can start using words which also include women. So instead of telling all women are created equal, we could say all people are created equal. Instead of saying chairman of the board, we could say chairperson. So which can be man or woman. So we are removing gender bias here. And instead of saying we need more manpower, instead of saying more manpower, we could say human power. So this is the way we also integrate women in our reading, in our writing, in our speeches. And there is a list on the right side. There are these and many other words which you might have come across, which are pseudo-generic man words. So craftsman, policeman, layman, foreman, busboy, salesman, crewman, chairman. So instead of using them like policemen, say police people or police personnel. And so busboy, so say bus person, salesperson, or other words that you can find out. And if there are no words which include both genders, maybe create your own. Go ahead, write it, put it in your writing, let it come up. So add new words. Next. We could also start using singular they. So they is not only plural, they also can be used as singular. So singular they is neutral, like it does not say whether man or woman, is neutral. Hypothetical, when you want to speak about an imaginary situation, you can use they. It's inclusive, includes both man and woman, and it is easy. You don't have to struggle with whether you have to say use he or she and keep changing between these two when you are writing or speaking. Next. Yeah, so it's not actually a new concept. It has been used by people like Chaucer, Shakespeare, and Austen. They have used they for as a singular, which can mean man or woman. Next. So instead of saying, if someone hugged me, I would hug her back or him back, you could say, next. Yeah. Yeah, you could say, please go back, Mr. V, back, yeah. Yeah, you could say, if someone hugged me, I would hug them back. So now it can be man, it can be woman, it's a gender inclusive word. And it works here as a singular word. Singular now, yeah. Singular, yeah, we can go ahead next year. A few more actions that we can take. So, begin from your family, from yourself and your family to speak and act for gender equity. So, I'm proposing gender equity and not gender equality because the gap is so big. Initially, we have to work on gender equity. Maybe when things are equal, then we can follow gender equity. But right now, we need to follow gender equity. Speak about gender discriminations in your families and wherever you get opportunity. Next. Challenge gender biased policies that you see, that you hear. Engage, if possible, in legislative bodies to advocate for gender equity. Next. Connect with and build new groups which can work for gender equity and equality. So at this point, I'm just proposing, I'm not insisting. Maybe even you as a college can begin a group of women who stand for gender equality and equity, where maybe some women can come together. And if they are facing some kind of gender discrimination, gender bias, they can come together, discuss, support each other, find ways to move ahead. So that is something practically that we can do. And such group also can support other girls and women in uplifting them. And in case you go for this group to make this group in your institute, if you need my help to like establish it in the initial time, begin it, and to do the initial setup, I'll be happy to work with you if you choose to. Call out discriminations in media and advertising. So we see since long that media and advertising can be discriminatory. They can picture men and women in different light. And just want to give a current example. So a magazine, Indian Currents, recently published. First cover of the page was Fratelli Tutti and subtitle was We the Brothers. So brothers again is it refers only to male. And somebody contested and the publisher of the magazine was very open. Publisher changed the cover page of the magazine to subtitle to an encyclical inspired by Saint Francis of Assisi. So more gender inclusive. But this was done because somebody brought it to the mind of the publisher. So such things we can also do. We can write to the magazines, periodicals, newspapers, and other things where we see gender discriminatory stories or experiences narrated. Next. Yeah, Maya Angelou. She was an American poet, memoirist, and civil rights activist. She says, how important it is for us to recognize and celebrate our heroes and sheroes. So a request and invitation for each one of us from Maya Angelou that there are sheroes in our society. There are female leaders who are experts and good. So bring them up so that new generation can see them, respect them, and learn from them. Next. Yeah, hope. Next. So what can be our hope? Each time a person stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others, they they send forth a tiny ripple of hope. These ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. Robert F. Kennedy. So this can be our hope. We don't have to be disappointed seeing the unfair situation, but we can start a ripple around our locations or around our society. Next, Margaret Mead says, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed people can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. So, a small group of people, and that was the reason I proposed a small group of people starting a group, women support group. That can be something that can bring influence in many families, in the society, in our institutions. Next. I like to almost wind up with this prayer. So, we began as one, uh, and our goal is oneness. And I like you to understand this prayer in the context of gender, as two genders, male and female, who are different yet beautiful, wonderful, who have different qualities and talents. So, I continue. Unity is not the same as uniformity. With increased complexity, there is actually greater diversity and a greater enjoyment of that very diversity, which is the fruit of love. So, invitation to build true love, which respects the diversity and the gifts of both men and women, which because of gender differences, we do not look down upon other gender, but we celebrate those gifts, those differences as blessings. So this is the thought of Richard Rohr, who is a mystic, well-known writer. Yeah.
Now I request Mrs. Meenakshi to propose word of thanks to Father and the participants.
Thank you, Father, for your thought-provoking and informative session on gender bias and gender equity. Thank you very much, Father, for obliging our invitation and conducting this webinar. It's very useful for our staff members and the students. We are able to get many informative thoughts and how to modify the gender norms. You have said about craft people, police people, how to avoid gender bias in the words. We are very happy and we have found the session to be now. It's a time for discussion and questions. Participants can unmute yourself or type your message to ask doubts to Father. Thank you. Doubts. Okay.
Dear students, you are welcome. You can give your feedback, query something. Would you like to speak to Father? You are welcome. At least one of you, girls.
Good evening, Father. Yes, sister. Good evening, sister. Father, I just have one query.
Yeah, please.
How far gender equity is achieved as of today's scenario?
I would say very less. Mostly what government and other people also speak, they speak about gender equality. And I think we need to go miles ahead to work for gender equity. But I don't want to be fully negative. but I do also say that there are institutions, places, societies, and NGOs which are working for gender equity, and things are improving. And so I would like to invite each one of us in this group that what I can contribute as an individual. How can I do my part, maybe a little bit? How can I improve the lives of girls and women? Maybe just to add a little more, you are going to be quality teachers and quality teachers. So how you will encourage, and also as mothers and wives in the families, how will you rear your children, where you give equal opportunity to both boy and girl, equal food to both, and allow them to study what both like to study, and not prefer one gender above the other. So I think it's a process we need to keep doing.
Thank you, Father.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, Father.
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you, Father.
Yeah, Srimira, yes.
Thank you, Father. Thank you for your valuable session. It is very informative. You have explained clearly about the difference between equality and equity to the picture, which is very impressive also. You have explained very clear about the gender bias and gender equity. We could clearly understood all the concepts you have explained. Thank you, Father. Thank you.
Thank you, Srimira. Yeah, it's a good suggestion to speak on gender equity and include it in our curriculum in whatever way possible, especially in the schools, education system. Yeah, there is a question: is true friendship is possible between man and woman? And my question will be, why not possible? What is the block? It's an invitation for both man and woman to respect each other equally, to look at each other with dignity, and then yes, in that sense, sure, possible.
Once again, I thank you, Father.
Yeah.
Now, our principal sister would like to share a few ideas with our students. Students kindly remain in the meet and listen to sister. Thank you.
Thank you, Father John Baptist,
Thank you,
for
sister.
the valuable session. We are very happy, and it was really useful to all of us. Thank you, Father, once again.